which had nothing to do with cavemen living a modern life, but actually it did. And they brought in this character called the Great KAZOO. Now, a lot of you younger people are not going to know what I'm talking about, but you're going to identify with it in the pop culture of today, Disney movies and things like that. KAZOO was a quote-unquote alien. KAZOO was interdimensional. KAZOO could appear and disappear, and all they had to do was call his name. Fred and Barney, Rubble and Flintstone, would call, "KAZOO, where are you?" whenever they got into trouble or they needed advice or wisdom, and this kind and benevolent interdimensional being would show up. And if let's say that there was a criminal that had pulled a gun on them, KAZOO could turn the gun into a banana and turn it into a funny situation, and he would call them dum-dums, but he was always very nice and, "Oh, what am I going to do with you? You guys are so stupid. I can't believe it." Anyway, so you had this thing introduced through the pop culture where an interdimensional being would show up, and it was always very benevolent. It was innocuous. It was kind of funny, but it was nice. And you'll remember in Star Wars, okay, what was kind of the whole plot of Star Wars? You have an invisible energy field. It didn't have a name. It was called the Force, and the Force had a good side and it had a dark side, and you could use it for good or you could use it for evil, and it would give you powers to get what you want or do right by your friends or dominate and control. Star Trek, if you'll remember, always with Star Trek, they would be out in the depths of space and they would run into some strange interdimensional being that had powers they were unfamiliar with, and they would, through human conventional wisdom, logistic, deductive reasoning, always find a way to beat it. Now, fast forward to in the 90s, you had Pokemon. Well, what was Pokemon? You had these kids that had these interdimensional beings that they had control over that they would release to solve problems and battle each other. And when yours won, you got more power, whether you had a Pikachu or a Charizard. My point is that they were fictional beings that were being presented as good and evil. You have Lilo and Stitch on the Disney movies. A lot of you adults will remember that. Well, what was it? There was this strange little demonic thing that was weird, but it was good and it was kind and it would help the child. Does this resonate what I'm saying with you, Greg Meakin?
Big time, big time. KAZOO was cool. He was like green and he's small and he's cute and we all liked KAZOO. And anyone who watched the Flintstones every day had a good childhood. I never missed Flintstones, never missed Gilligan's Island, never missed Bewitched, never missed my favorite was Hogan's Heroes. But either way, what people don't realize, and you're talking about multi-themes here, of course, including spiritual and stuff, what people don't realize, the Flintstones, as were most of those cartoons, not just Hanna-Barbera commercials, but others, were deep political commentary. People remember Wilma. I remember Wilma. They did a little experiment of Wilma going to work at Fred's at the quarry, right? Wilma was 10 times better than Fred was at the job. So
I'm glad you brought that up. It introduced the idea of feminism.
Movement, dude.
Feminism.
This was the bra-burning feminists, and they're saying we don't need men.
There you go.
And I remember, it sounds that funny, Mikey. I mean, I'm 8 years old or whatever, 9 years old, and I remember that to this day. I'm saying, wait a minute, I kind of, as an 8-year-old, I kind of like a look at that issue. Are you sure? Are you sure that any woman would be better working in a rock quarry than a man? I mean, I was questioning it. So you're bringing up just simply that there are broader things to all of these simple conversations, Mike.
Well, they always, like with the writing of these shows,